Offense has really thrived in the past 2 days.
First pitch from Vega. Maloney knocked down by Evans at shortstop, and Maloney.
For UCF getting the start again in the circle, they have leaned on her heavily throughout this Austin Regional, thrown 11 2/3 innings. What you're going to see her do, she's going to get a lot of miss hits off of the end of the bat. She's going to try to disrupt these Texas batters' timing.
Caden Henry takes strike one. Jim Bertuzzi calling balls and strikes behind the plate here in this regional final. Henry, 4 of 7 in the regional. She has scored 6 times. Second team all-conference selection in the SEC, hitting at .426. Top 4 in the Texas lineup, all hitting .426 or better. 1-1 the count from Vega. Vega retired the final 6 Michigan hitters Saturday. That was a wild game. Every half inning there were multiple runs being scored, but Vega came in, settled things down for UCF, and pitched them into this regional final. To third for the force at second goes Humphreys. Jaime's on the cover. So they
to her defense behind her.
Opponents hitting 189 against the freshman from Bradenton this season. Ball 1 to the number 3 hitter, Mia Scott, top hitter on this Texas team at .434. First team all-conference selection in the SEC, closing in on 300 career hits. That club at Texas has one member, the 300-hit club, Janae Jefferson. 2-0. 88 degrees at first pitch, but the wind is blowing out to left again. It's a little stronger, I think, than yesterday at times, so it's going to be gusting a little bit. It was obviously jumping here yesterday off the bat.
Do I dare say it feels like a cool 88 in comparison to what we felt the last 2 days by your face? I'm guessing no, immediately. You didn't even have to speak.
How can you say you've been in Austin for several days without saying it? You just say it feels cool at 88 because a little under a week ago, our sun gauge is up closing in on 100 again on the field.
It's cooling down as we speak, 87 degrees now.
Air temp was over 100 less than a week ago. Successful bunts laid down by Mia Scott. Well, she's an elite hitter, but Madison loves her game because she'll do whatever it takes in the box to get on base. 2 on with 1 out for Texas.
And with where she stands in the box and just her stance, it's really hard to read if she's going to stand in there and hit away. Is she going to be able to drop a bunt? But that's the other element of this Texas order, too. They've got a lot of players that can just put the ball in play, lay down a bunt, and still be able to leg it out for a base hit.
That will bring up the top run producer in Texas history, 213 career RBI for the junior Reese Atwood. 80 runs batted in this season, 9 in this regional. She is 6 for 7 in the regional. The 0-1. Up high, 1-1. Well, the fans are positioning themselves again. They know the wind's blowing out, so back against the building.
I think there's a couple of dents in the building from where Katie Stewart's home runs landed.
You park there at your own risk, that's for sure. Atwood with a fly ball to center. Playing it is Simon for the out, 2 down. Well, Reese Atwood, the only 2 times she's been retired, fly balls to center field. That's number 2 for her in this regional.
And both of them have been on rise balls that are up and inside on the hand. She's somebody likes to toe up to that chalk line, and so Issa Vega decides to challenge her on the inside part of the plate, then gets her to fly out to center field for the second out.
Here's Katie Stewart. 2 home runs yesterday for Stewart, giving her 15 on the season. They crunched the numbers on the 2 home runs, 269 feet for each of those shots, and back-to-back at-bats for Stewart. Sophomore making her 13th start at shortstop. Starter since the LSU series late in the regular season. Takes a ball, it's 2-0.
What stood out to me about her at-bats yesterday, too, was she went up there and she hit the rise ball for the first home run. And then her next at-bat, very first pitch that she saw, she flipped her game plan. She went up there sitting changeup, and she got it, and she hit it another 269 feet.
Big rip by Stewart. Swing and a miss, it's 2-1.
It's all that chess game within the game. You're trying to stay one pitch ahead of the pitcher. You're trying to go up there and have an idea of where the pitcher is going to throw you and try to take that best pitch away.
In on the hands, popped up to left field. That's Samantha Ray. And that will do it for Texas in the top half of the first. The Knights coming to the plate when we come back to Austin. 3 home runs as a team. They'll face Tegan Kavan, the ace for the Texas staff, who steps on the rubber, ready to bring her first pitch to Aubrey Evans. And it's in there for strike one.
Tegan Kavan got the start yesterday against Michigan, working that rise ball and that drop ball combination. That first pitch there that she gets called for a strike, that's the exact area that she would love to see called all game long.
And the count 0-2. Kavan yesterday against Michigan went 3 1/3, gave up 6 hits, 4 earned runs, struck out 7, giving her 195 strikeouts on the season. Evans down the count 0-2. Tap to Scott at third, charges, throws, one away.
When you think about Tegan Kavan, the first thing that comes to mind is the rise ball, but she's been using a lot of her secondary pitches in this regional. This is the drop ball. It's got some great arm side run on it as well, and then the changeup. That's the pitch that she's been able to drop in consistently. Swings well out in front because batters are gearing up for that 70+ mile/hour rise ball, and then she's able to drop in that off speed that tunnels very well with that drop ball down in the zone.
Sierra Humphreys tries to bunt her way on, fouls it off for strike one. Well, I know you've watched closely how Kavan has been pitching down the stretch. Her last 5 appearances, 16 innings of work, 29 hits, has given up 25 earned runs. Opponents hitting .367 against her heading in to this game here today.
And now there have been a couple of hits that have been in there where, in my opinion, it's a bit of bad luck. She'll throw a good pitch, it'll get in on the hands, and it'll just find its way down on the ground.
Humphreys finds a way to get a base hit. That's her 5th hit of the regional. She's aboard with 1 down for UCF here in the first.
Prime example of some of the hits that have gone against Tegan Kavan recently is that one right there from Humphreys. Doesn't get all of it, just gets enough of that pitch up in the zone to be able to just drop it right out there into center field. But look at the first 24 appearances for Kavan this season with that ERA right at 1.42. In the last few appearances, that ERA has skyrocketed.
Strike one to Stormy Kotzelnick, senior left fielder. Correction, Stormy's in right field today. Ray is out in left field. Stormy's had an excellent tournament, 5 for 10 at the plates. That's fouled off, down in the count 0-2.
Got hits in a bunch of different ways, too. She hit a home run, she dropped a bunt, even slapped for a base hit.
Hit a home run against Michigan Saturday with 2 outs. 7 of the 10 runs for UCF. You talk about the grit and back against the wall. 7 of their 10 runs in that win yesterday came with 2 outs. Kavan just pounding the zone. She's thrown 8 pitches, all 8 for strikes, 2 down.
A little bit of a smile on Tegan Kavan's face after that strikeout. Look at the location of this one, too. She'll throw that rise ball on different planes. She'll throw it at the knee. She'll throw it at the belt. She'll throw it up and out of the zone. But that time, get Stormy Kotzelnick looking and watching that one go straight by. I'd say that's a pretty good strike-to-ball ratio to start off the ball game for Kavan.
Even the two of us challenged with math can figure that one out. Here's the cleanup hitter, Ashley Griffin, the junior who plays first base, hitting at .295. 2 runs in the regional. She's human. Ball 1.
It's a good miss, though. If you're missing by an inch or 2, that means you're doing a good job of staying right around the edges. There's that changeup. Hung on to it just a little bit too long up in the zone.
Kavan a season ago, the Big 12 Freshman of the Year, 20 wins in Texas's last year in the Big 12. Kept it going into the SEC. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2 to Griffin. Of course, these two programs overlapped for 1 year last year as members of the Big 12. Texas went to Orlando for a series. hard-fought series, but series won by Texas. 2-2. Swung on and missed, and that will do it for UCF. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say before you did, she was dominant in that championship game.
Exactly what I was going to say. One of the most dominant, one of the most dominant performances that I've seen all season long. Just so much command of the rise ball and the changeup. And looking at her weekend this weekend so far in that Lubbock regional, she's hit 2 home runs.
That was part of the attraction for her. Obviously, there's the financial piece of it, but to be a two-way player and battling injury during the season, so kind of limiting what she could do practice-wise and what she could do on the basis. This is fly ball off the bat of Mitchell, shortstop covering a lot of ground to get to it. Aubrey Evans gets there, and Jolie Mitchell is retired 1 away. But if Nija's feeling better and getting closer to 100%, look out.
Well, and speaking of two-way players, too, Jordy Ball has 3 home runs in that Baton Rouge regional. They're going to be playing against Southeastern Louisiana today to see who comes out of that Baton Rouge regional. Going to be a good battle between those two teams, too. Southeastern Louisiana likes to be aggressive on the base paths. Over 190 stolen bases on the season.
Vic Hunter steps in. Little tweak to the lineup today for Texas. Hunter makes her NCAA tournament debut here in the Austin Regional. Her 17th start of the season. And a team that's hit 6 home runs in the regional, you bring in a player who has 12 hits for Mike White, and 5 of those 12 hits home runs.
I think Coach White wants to see more of those softballs leave the yard in today's ball game.
Pretty good luxury when you have a lineup like this, and then you can just bring Vic Hunter in, who we haven't seen a lot of, but what we've seen is intriguing and good.
It was that Kentucky series where she ended up hitting 2 home runs in that Kentucky series. To be able to provide even more pop in this Texas lineup and be able to play some matchups too. You might have some swings that are more tailored towards rise balls.
Hunter lays off. Of course, she played in the NCAA tournament last year. A big part of that super regional win over Texas A&M with a grand slam against the Aggies. 2-run home run this year in the Oklahoma series. 2-2 the count with 1 down. Vega threw the change, and Hunter fouled it off. Hunter lifts it foul. That's going to head out of play. Texas in game 1 of this regional defeated Eastern Illinois in 5 innings, 10-2, 15 hits, no home runs in that game. Decided to go station to station before in game 2 against Michigan. They picked up 14 hits, but 6 of those 14 hits were home runs, but 16 runs on the board in the win in 5 innings. Hunter works the count full to 3-2. Cindy Ball Malone, 7th season as the UCF head coach. Her team kind of following her well-known nickname, Bear, because they've been tough since falling to Michigan in the opener. Comes inside on Hunter, misses for ball 4, and she's aboard with 1 down here in the 2nd inning. 7 Innings Live crew has had plenty to talk about. If you join them, you won't miss a minute of the action from the NCAA Softball Regionals, taking you to the best live action on the 7 Innings Live show on the ESPN app. Every game, every big moment on the road to the Women's College World Series, only on the ESPN network. We've got an eye on that Kentucky-Clemson series, as I'm sure they do too. This one is hit deep to center field. It is back, and it is gone. Lee Ann Good, another Texas home run, 2-0 Longhorns.
Two home runs now for Lee Ann Good in the last 2 games. Knows that she's going to get a rise ball at some point in this at-bat, and she goes after it early in the at-bat, takes her barrel straight to this pitch, perfectly on time. That's the key to her success, is being on time for that 62-mile-per-hour rise ball on the outer half. She makes the adjustment, she goes out there, and she capitalizes. First pitch of the at-bat, and now Texas is up 2-0.
Here's Katie Bennett, the number 9 hitter. So much has been made of 1 through 6 in the Texas lineup and how there is not an easy out in that group. Well, the bottom third of the order coming through. Not just home runs in back-to-back games, back-to-back at-bats for Leanne Good. Bennett lifts a fly ball, foul ground, long run, sliding, and yes! Samantha Ray, great catch, 2 down.
What a way to get some of the momentum back on your side. Samantha Ray having to go a long way for this ball over in foul territory. Nice job by sliding into the fence, keeping her eyes on that ball the entire time, secures it in the glove for out number 2. An outstanding catch out in left field.
Defense has been good for UCF. 1 error so far in the NCAA tournament, and that was a great play to retire Bennett for the second out of the inning. And here's Ashton Maloney. Reached on an infield single her first time. Maloney with a line drive right at the right fielder, and Kotzelnik has it, and that will retire late. Can they get pitching to match the offense? If they can, they'll be one of the favorites to make a return trip to the Champ Series. Strike 1 from Kavan to Izzy Mertes, freshman, leading things off for UCF here in the second. Mertes in the DP slot here today. Home run in the 5th inning yesterday against Michigan. That was the big inning for UCF. They were down by 1, ended up leading by 2, and Vega put it away after that for the Knights. 3 hits in the tournament for the freshman from California. Fly ball lifted to the right fielder. Maloney has it, 1 down.
Kavan stayed that entire bat away from Izzy Mertes, who does have some pop the opposite way, but she's relying on that movement on the rise ball. Try to get that fly ball out to the right side, and that's exactly what she's able to do.
Kavan last year in the NCAA tournament, 3 wins, 6 appearances, made 5 starts. Opponents hit 163 against her. Starts off with strike 1 again, this time to freshman Beth Damon. Nothing but first pitch strikes so far for the sophomore from Iowa. 1-1. Damon, the team leader in runs batted in with 37, hitting at 276. Has a couple of runs batted in the tournament. That's grounded foul. Good quickness by Bear down in the third base coach's box. She still got it. You talked about at the top of the telecast too, Madison, the youth of this UCF team. So many freshmen. They have a freshman battery with Vega and Damon, who's at the plate right now. When we talked to Bear Malone about it, just dealing with a young team has its share of challenges, but this is kind of like an all-business type team. Plays like a veteran group. That's off the glove of Scott. Long throw across the diamond in time. Katie Stewart there for her teammate to get the out. 2 down.
What a play by the shortstop, Katie Stewart. This one's off of the glove of Mia Scott. A 1-hopper. Looks like she's going to have it all the way, but it tips right off of the front. Katie Stewart is right behind her for the backup, picks it up, fires it across. And those are the types of plays that Tegan Kavan loves to see when she's out there in the circle.
Samantha Ray steps in with 2 down. Another first pitch strike from Kavan. Mentioned at the top of the show. 13th start for Stewart at shortstop, taking over at that position. Vivi Martinez going down with a season-ending injury before the season started. Outstanding shortstop for this Texas team. Ground ball to Leanne. Good with the flip over to Mitchell, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Kavan. Longhorns on top 2-0 after 2 in Austin.
Coach Mike White sitting as head coach for the Longhorns, but also just with the way that they're able to repeat their success and thrive off of the experience that they gained from the year prior. And that's where I believe that Texas Longhorns came into this season with a ton of expectations because they finished in that championship series losing to Oklahoma. But you know they were hungry coming back this year. A lot of returners on this team. Wanted to be able to figure out what it was going to take to be the last team standing at the end of that Women's College World Series.
47 wins in 2022 when they first made the Champ Series against Oklahoma. Next year they lost in the Super Regional round in Knoxville to the University of Tennessee. Bounced back last year. 55 wins was the final total for Texas. One and two, the count to Caden Henry leading off for the Longhorns. That's popped up and out of play. Second year for the UCF Knights in the Big 12. Made the NCAA tournament last year. Played in the Tallahassee Regional where they went 1-2. 2-2 now the count to Henry. Six wins for UCF over top 25 teams this year. Vega goes up top, gets Henry to strike out. One down here in the third.
Vega mixing speeds a lot throughout this at-bat. Works some changeups in there. This time, that's that jumpy rise ball that's working in the top part of the zone. Caden Henry swinging and missing well underneath on that pitch. That's one of those pitches out of the hand. Looks like it might stay right around belt high, maybe just a little bit higher, but by the time you decide to swing, that late break up in the zone, and you're swinging at something that's up at your helmet.
Ball one to Mia Scott, who reached on a bunt single in the first inning. Well, when you were talking to Vega before this regional started, you're just trying to get an idea of what she throws. It's not that she throws hard, but I think it was her head coach who said there's just that late burst in the zone that makes her so tough to hit.
Yeah, Coach Paul Malone actually referred to it as a heavy rise ball. Typically when coaches are talking about a heavy pitch, they're referring to a drop ball, just with the way that it feels when you try to hit those heavy drop balls on the barrel.
She's all about command and control, right? That's
absolutely.
Where it has to start with her.
Starts with the command, wanting to make sure that her pitchers are locating her spots. But she also said she got back there and caught a bullpen for Isabella Vega just to get a sense for some of the pitches. And she said, man, that's rise ball has some late heavy movement to it up in the zone.
Slow roller to second, unable to handle it is Jaimez, and Scott is aboard for a second time today.
This is one of those slow developing ground balls over to the right side of the infield, and Coco Jaimez looked like she was going to have plenty of time to be able to get Mia Scott out over at first base, but because Scott has speed moving down the base paths, I wonder if she just rushed that a bit too much, went to go to throw the ball before she actually had that ball secured in her glove.
It is scored a hit.
I think that's a play that's got to be made. I think if you ask Coco Jaimez too, she's saying that she's got to have that ground ball.
Atwood. I think we could tally what the exit velocity of that foul ball was, but Mike White heard it was fast as it buzzed the head coach down in the third base coach's box.
Even going back to your earlier question about the success for Texas, I think that there's a clutch factor to a lot of the players that are on this team, and that's not necessarily something that jumps out on a stat sheet. But you think about Reese Atwood and the amount of times that she's been able to come up with a walk-off game-winning hit for the Longhorns, or even Mia Scott came up with a walk-off winner in the SEC tournament last weekend against Ole Miss. There's just a lot of different pieces in this lineup that have been able to come through in big moments for this Texas team.
Quick conversation with Damon going out to chat with Vega. Stewart on deck, Atwood at the plate. 1-1 the count with one down. Foul backing out of play, and it's 1-2. Mentioned the wins over top 25 opponents. The biggest one for UCF was against third-ranked Florida, and Vega was in the circle. Complete game, 5-hit shutout, 4-0 win. Big moment for Vega, but a really big moment for the team. They were scuffling at that point. They had lost 7 of 8, but you go in, you knock off Florida in Orlando, and that was, to use an Orlando phrase, the launching pad, really, in many ways for this team to get going down the stretch. And that large bid out of the Big 12.
I think for such a young team, too, that the season can really become a grind, especially when you're facing so many different top opponents. And to be able to go out there and have timely pieces of hitting by a couple of different players in your order. It was Aubrey Evans and Izzy Mertez that both had home runs in that Florida game. But to see your hard work paying off and come out with a win, I do think can jumpstart the team in a different direction.
See how the UCF team comes together after that long foul ball by Atwood. Cindy Ball Malone's squad in the infield gets around Vega. A little bit of talk. 5th straight trip to the regionals for UCF. They had won their regional opener 6 straight appearances. Atwood waits on it and lifts it to Simon in center field. 2 away. Atwood's been a tough out, but she's 0 for 2 today against Vega.
On 2 different pitches, too. The last one was a rise ball. That last fly ball out to center field was off of the changeup. I did notice that Reese Atwood backed off of the plate a bit. In her first at bat, her toes were right up on that chalk line. That time, maybe a little bit more separation between her toes and that chalk line. Just about 6 inches. We'll see where Katie Stewart sets up in the batter's box here. Looks like she's a bit further off of the plate as well.
Stewart sends it through the right side, a base hit, goes the opposite way. Bobbled by the right fielder. Scott saw that, took third on the bobble. First and third with 2 down for the Longhorns here in the third.
Just to give you an idea of the strength that Katie Stewart has when she swings, it didn't even sound like she got all of this one, but she absolutely smokes it through that 3-4 hole, a line drive all the way out to right field. All about timing and keeping that barrel behind your hands is what allows her to drive it with authority the opposite way. And with that bobble, that slight miscue, Mia Scott's able to go all the way over to third base.
1 for 2 today, 6 for 8 in the regional for Stewart. Error on the right fielder allowing Scott to go to third. So a single and an error on the plate. And here's Mitchell, who popped out to short her first time. Mitchell lifts a fly ball to left. Ray calling for it, under it, and makes the catch. So the error not costly for UCF. They trail by 2 after 2.5. Postseason history as well that has gone Alabama's way. So that would be, as you like to say, a sporty showdown.
It's definitely going to be a sporty showdown between those 2 teams. And given just the experience that both of those teams have playing against each other in the postseason, it was Super Regionals where Oklahoma was on the road at Alabama, where Alabama came out on top in that Super, and then the championship series 2012 between Alabama and Oklahoma as well, where Alabama came away with their first national title.
Oh, 0-2 the count to Jaimez. Once again, a first pitch strike for Tegan Kavan. She is 8 for 8 today, so she's been working ahead, making her 3rd appearance against UCF after a couple of appearances last year in Big 12 conference play. She hasn't given up a run to UCF in the 2 previous meetings with the Knights, and so far she's kept them scoreless through 2 as she works here in the bottom of the 3rd. Jaimez lays off, and the count is full, 3-2. Jaimez has had an outstanding tournament, 7 of 9, a home run, 3 runs scored. She's raised her batting average to .239 thanks to the 7 for 9. And she sends another hit into right field. Coco Jaimez, the freshman, having an unforgettable Austin Regional.
And spraying the ball all over the field and even outside of the field with the home run that she hit throughout this regional. But the way that she's able to get her barrel around when she's going through the zone, typically you're going to see the slappers try to funnel that ball to the left side of the infield. And this time she pulls it to the right side for another base hit this weekend.
That gives her 8 in 10 at-bats here in Austin. Here's the number 9 hitter, Madison Simon. Simon chops it foul for strike 1. Simon, a senior who previously played at Oregon State in her first year in Orlando with the Knights. Played in the Knoxville Regional back in 2022 with the Beavers, had 4 hits there. She's got a couple of hits here in the Austin Regional playing with UCF. And she's got a fan club, it looks like. That's off the plate. It's 2-1. And Kavan wants time. And wants to chat with Atwood. I know you had a chance, we were sitting with the players before the tournament started, to ask Tegan Kavan a couple questions. And the one that always pops in my mind when you're facing, you don't face your teammates all the time, but if you're a pitcher at Texas facing this lineup, it's going to be a bit humbling. And she said, yeah, this past week, trying to dial things in, she faced her Texas lineup, and she didn't seem happy about it.
Yeah, she said she does not like it when she has to face her own teammates, and I don't blame her when you go top to bottom in this order. But she did say that she felt good about the workout that she had and fine-tuned some things coming into this weekend. When you look at just her pitch distribution last year to this year, you see her throwing that drop ball more and more this season. She said she's really grown in confidence and being able to throw that pitch more consistently, and I think that it makes her rise ball even more effective when she's able to locate that pitch hard down in the zone to complement the pitch up in the zone.
Two-two to the number 9 hitter, Simon. Back to Kavan, turns to second to Stewart for 1, on to first, not in time. Dropped by Mitchell anyway, but Simon would have beaten it out. 1 down.
Kavan goes back to the drop ball there, and that's the product of the late movement and for the batters being geared up for the rise ball. It's a completely different swing path for these batters to have to go after that rise ball or the drop ball. You almost have to decide which pitch that you want to go after when you step into that batter's box. With that rise ball, you're going to aim to try to get on top of it. Well, the drop ball, it's completely opposite. You're looking to hit right underneath that softball.
Ball 1, Atwood looking for it, had knocked it down to Aubrey Evans, who grounded out to third her first time. Really good year for Evans at the plate. The junior with the team best 10 home runs, hit 2 last year as a sophomore. Swung on a miss. One of her home runs this year came against Arizona in the Big 12 tournament, put UCF up 3-0 against the Wildcats, but they couldn't hold on to that lead and got knocked out in the quarterfinal round by Arizona. That's a strike, and it's 1-2.
We did get a chance to talk to a couple of the UCF players earlier this week as well. Aubrey Evans was one of those players, and a couple pitchers in there too between Caitlin Felton and Issa Vega, and we did ask them if they like throwing to the hitters in their lineup, and they definitely do not like throwing to Aubrey Evans, just with the way that she's able to react to different pitches.
Tried to check her swing. She did. It's 2-2.
And she said she's somebody that doesn't necessarily like to go up there and sit a certain speed or a pitch. She just likes to react. She just wants to see the ball out of the hand and trust her hands and react to those pitches.
You always like to ask hitters about their mindset, and Aubrey was very direct. I don't think. I'm very simple. Kavan fields it, plays to first to get Evans, taking second is Simon, 2 down.
I do like to dive into the mindset of the hitters, because there's no one right way to go up there and hit. Everybody's going to do something a little bit different, but that's what makes it so fun, just to learn what helps each individual player have success and just in their own style and how they play the game.
I always think you just try to, read the room a little bit when you're talking to players to see who likes to get as deep into the hitting weeds as you do.
That's why you're here, to just pull me out of the weeds when I get in too deep into the numbers.
I'd like to leave the trail of breadcrumbs so you can find your way out, but you love talking hitting, analyzing hitting, thinking about hitting, and you love to do that with the hitting coaches. Sometimes I feel like we're going to hold up the first pitch because you're just talking to the coaches for so long. Oh, and 2 the count to Sierra Humphreys, who singled in the first. Her 5th hit of the regional. UCF with a runner in scoring position for the first time today. Kavan brings the 0-2.
When you get into these close games, these elimination type games, when it comes time for the postseason, being able to draw a walk, if that's what the pitcher is going to give you, you go ahead and take it and pass that bat along to your teammate to get the job done.
Here is Hunter, who worked that walk with 1 out in the second. Got on base before the good home run. That is hit hard and skimming off the roof and foul. Wind continues to whip out to left. Got to be tempting for these hitters to just lift it up into the jet stream.
Yeah, especially the right-handed batters. You just want to pull it up into the wind.
1-1 from Vega. 1-2. Texas had a couple of hits in the first, the home run in the second, a couple of hits in the third. So far, 2 runs to show for what they've done at the plate, as Hunter bats here to lead things off in the fourth. That's lifted up, foul ground, drifting out of play. And we'll do the 2-2 again.
We keep seeing Vega working both sides of the plate. She primarily likes to work the arm side of the plate with her rise ball, but she's had to expand to go to the other side because of the way that Texas has been pulling the ball to the left side. Another piece of her arsenal to try to disrupt their timing.
Another 2-2 from Vega. Squibb through the right side and a base hit for Hunter. 6th hit of the game for Texas, 35th of the regional.
You could tell by the way that this ball came off of the bat that Vic Hunter was trying to let that ball travel, trying to let that ball get deep, almost let it get just a little bit too deep in on her hands, but she was still able to muscle that one out to right field for a base hit to start off this inning.
So she's aboard in front of Leanne Good again. Good has homered in her last 2 at-bats. Final at-bat yesterday and her first at-bat today. One and 1. Home run by Good was the 80th for Texas as a team this season. With Atwood leading the way with 18. Good can go deep. She can lay down the bunts. But the force play at second. Hunter's retired. Good job by UCF to get the lead runner. 1 down.
Heads up play by Ashley Griffin to know to turn her body when she was fielding that bunt to put herself in a good position to make a strong throw over to second base. All about reading the speed of that bunt off of the bat and able to get the lead runner.
They'll bring up Katie Bennett with one down here in the fourth. Samantha Ray made a terrific sliding play in foul ground to retire Bennett her first time. Bennett 4 for her last 14 after an 0 for 29 slide that carried to the final series of the regular season. So she steadied the ship. 2 for 6 in the regional, including that 3-run home run yesterday. 1-1. Bennett played at Abilene Christian last season, so getting her first taste of a Texas Longhorn NCAA tournament trip. Swung on and missed, throwing back behind, trying to get the runner good, who's back sliding safely. Beth Damon behind the plates, the freshman. 1-2 the count to Bennett. Off the plate for a ball, it's 2-2. Fouled off. Good was on the move on the 2-2 pitch.
With East Vega working the outside part of the plate to Bennett, especially some arm side run that she's showing on that rise ball going away from the lefty. You've got the right fielder, Stormy Kotzelnick, playing off the line quite a bit, anticipating that Bennett's going to hit another ball more towards the left side of the field.
Bennett can't reach it. Vega gets the strikeout. That is her second K. 2 down.
That last bit of break on this pitch is what makes all the difference. You can see it's almost moving like a screwball out of the hand. A bit more side-to-side movement on that pitch rather than the typical up and down movement you see with that rise ball.
Top of the order for Maloney. Lined out to right her last time after singling in the first. Want to know the count to the junior right fielder. 1-1. Ashton incredibly consistent for Texas. Hit .381 last year, .382 2 seasons ago. Didn't play 2022 due to injury. Has raised that average this year. .430 entering play today.
One of the stats, I always like to look at is RBIs because I feel like it's a team stat. You need more than just yourself to be able to stack up the amount of RBIs that you see top to bottom in this Texas Longhorns lineup. And one of the reasons why they've been able to score so many runs this year is the consistency that Maloney provides right at the top of the order. Especially in a softball era, too, where you just don't see nearly as many slappers, but she has been fantastic for the Longhorns this season.
Battling against Vega, who brings the 1-2. And Vega gets another strikeout. Well done by the freshman, Isa Vega, doing all she can to keep this a tight one here in Austin.
Inside part of the plate earlier in the game, and she has been working the rise ball away to those left-handed batters. Not easy to do against an offense like we talked about that had put up 29 hits in the first 2 games of this regional, to be able to come out and just pound the strike zone, get some weak contact.
Kotzelnick with a hard ground ball fielded by Jolie Mitchell, who will take it herself. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the fourth.
I think, too, with Vega, you're seeing why she emerged as really the ace for this staff. Just as a freshman, she redshirted last year, took in a lot of information from what she learned from last season, carried that over into this year, and she really has been solid. Besides that one mistake that she made to Leanne Good, everything else has been really great out of the hand.
Here is Ashley Griffin. Kavan was trying to get the field just right, it looked like, and Reese Atwood's going to come reset before throwing a pitch to Griffin with one down here in the fourth. While they talk it over, I can tell you that tonight's Sunday Night Baseball Showdown, the rubber game of the series between the Yankees and the Mets, Soto and Judge, Subway Series, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins 6 o'clock Eastern Time with baseball tonight. Sunday Night Countdown. Yankees won Game 1, the Mets won Game 2. Texas baseball having a great year, Madison Shipman. They'll be the #1 seed in the SEC tournament that starts later this week.
Kimball Schuessler in the stands playing first base for the Longhorns. He's having a good year offensively too, batting over 300, 15 doubles, 7 home runs.
Texas will take on the 8th seed Tennessee, 9th seed Alabama, or 16th seed Mizzou on Thursday at Hoover, Alabama. So good debut season for the baseball team in the SEC, much like the softball team having a good debut season in the SEC. Texas went 16-8 in the SEC, which was good for 3rd place. And we joked about it throughout the regular season in the SEC. Every weekend felt kind of like a regional or a super regional weekend with the matchups. Griffin works a walk, 4-pitch walk. So Kavan had thrown first pitch strikes to 11 of the first 12 batters and then loses the zone to the cleanup hitter for UCF.
And they're getting a rally going here with the middle part of their order coming up. Pitching coach for Texas, Patty Ruth Taylor, going to come out and have a conversation with her battery after that walk to Ashley Griffin. And now you have to face Izzy Mertez. So we're seeing some early action in the bullpen for Texas. Itlali Gutierrez getting loose. We talked about the power that Izzy Mertez shows just as a freshman for this UCF team, and she showed it off again in yesterday's ball game, driving this one off of Aaron Hain from Michigan out to left field. A deep shot, a no-doubter off of the bat, and you know that UCF would love to see another one of those home runs here off the bat of their freshman to tie up this ball game.
First walk issued today by Kavan, second of the tournament after she issued one walk against Michigan yesterday, and in her career against UCF, 12 2/3 innings of work. That's the first walk she's issued to a Knights hitter. Here is Mertez, who flied to right her first time. That misses for ball 1.
Wouldn't be surprised here, too, if Tegan Kavan tries to throw a lot of those drop balls in there to Izzy Mertez. That first one just missing low and outside in the zone. Goes back to it there for a swing and miss. Mertez just on top of that one.
1-1.
Got a chance to talk to Coach Sydney Ball Malone just about Izzy Mertez and how she came in to this season as a batter that liked to go after pitches more in the top part of the zone, but they worked all year long to be able to attack the low part of the zone. Even said that they would do drills where the ball was practically on the ground to get her to learn to get barrel underneath those pitches. You're practicing the over-exaggerated version of what you're going to see in the game.
Mertez chops it. Scott backs up on it. Throws to second for the force. Hard slide there by Griffin. Good hangs on to it. 2 down.
Be the nature of the timing of Ashley Griffin's slide into second base that kind of led to that warning for UCF.
Again, awkward, not malicious in my estimation, but the end result was hard contact. Beth Damon with contact into the gap in left center field. Cut off there by Henry. Good job by the Texas center fielder because that certainly saved a run for the Longhorns. Damon with a single that moves Mertez over the third with 2 outs.
And Beth Damon wasting no time after that pretty long review. This is one of those drop balls that's working low and inside, a 1-0 count, and she takes barrel straight down underneath that pitch and drives it out to the left center gap. And that's a great point, Eric, because Caden Henry came across and stopped it and prevented it from getting all the way to the wall, saves a run.
So an opportunity here still for UCF because they'll bring in their pinch hit specialist, Kendall Yarnell, to face Tegan Kavan. Yarnell had 9 pinch hits entering the NCAA tournament, added 2 more so far here in Austin. So this is a role that she thrives in. Big opportunity here for Yarnell. Swings at the first pitch, strike 1. The 0-1 from Kavan. It's 0-2. Yarnell got the start against Michigan in Game 2 yesterday for UCF. Off the bench here today, down in the count 0-2 in this Austin regional. Trying to keep this a 2-run game, facing Caden Henry to lead things off here in the top half of the 5th. Henry 0 for 2 today. Bunts it foul, and it's 1-1. Henry 4 for 9 in the regional with 6 runs scored. The 1-1 from Vega. Waits on it, lines it to left. Moving over to make the play is Samantha Ray. 1 down here in the 5th. They'll bring up Mia Scott. Scott's got 2 hits today, 299 for her Texas career. She bats with 1 down here in the 5th.
Always wait in anticipation to see if Mia Scott's going to decide to go after the first pitch of the at-bat, and right there she's taken all the way.
As she normally does, but she's just setting the trap. One day she's going to swing at that first pitch when you least expect it.
That's why I keep waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Scott lifts a lazy fly ball to right. Little miscommunication. Konselnick couldn't get it, and Scott's at second base. She saw Jaimes coming out. It's going to go into the books as a hit for Mia Scott, the 300th of her Texas career.
Miscommunication is right, Eric, between Stormy Konselnick and Coco Jaimes. She had to run a long way in from right field to try to get this one. It hits off of the heel of her glove. For the 300th career hit for Mia Scott. Not her hardest hit of her career, but she will absolutely take it.
They're going to roll the ball off because it's been brought up by the Texas dugout that that's career hit number 300. So hitting coach Steve Singleton talked to the plate umpire and said, can we have that ball? That's a sign of a good hitting coach. He's going to watch film with you. He's going to throw to you. He's going to break down your swing, but he's also going to make sure you have historic mementos of your time.
Yes, you want the milestone softball.
Strike 1 to Reese Atwood. Atwood is 0 for 2 today, has flied out to center field twice. That's a wild one. Scott on the run to third. One down, top of the 5th. 1-1 the count to Reese Atwood. 6 for 9 in the Austin Regional. 2-1. Atwood in this regional, Madison, her OPS in the first 2 games, 2179. That's efficient.
I would say so, especially as a batter when you want to be right around that 1 mark. To double that in the first 2 games is impressive.
She's done it again. Atwood goes yard. 2-run shot. 4-0 Longhorns.
Would have bounced off building as well if the cars weren't parked there in front.
Yes, and again, I think you park at your own risk. Felton's first pitch is lined to second by Katie Stewart. 2 down here in the 5th.
Well, it's a freshman getting the start in the circle for UCF, and they bring in the senior Caitlin Felton coming in relief in this ball game. They like to use that combination too because Caitlin Felton's going to bring in some really good velocity. So it's that timing adjustment that you're going to see Texas have to make.
Mitchell, line shot off the wall in left. Played quickly by Ray, and Mitchell will hold for a single. Hit hard by Jolie Mitchell. A couple of hard hit balls on consecutive pitches here for Texas. Mitchell has her first hit of the game, 3rd hit of the regional.
And to be able to flip your rhythm that quickly when a new pitcher enters the ball game. This is a rise ball in on the hands again to Jolie Mitchell, but she turns on this pitch as well, and she's a batter that likes to hang out in the front part of the batter's box, which is going to speed up those pitches even more, but her hands are so quick through the zone that she's still able to get to it.
Hunter swings at the first pitch. Stepping on the bag is Evans to retire the side. Reese Atwood hit.
See a lot of swings and misses and a lot of takes watching that one go by.
Sophomore's been locked in today, trying to pitch Texas back to the Super Regionals. And she throws another first pitch strike. This time to Coco Jaimez, leading things off here for UCF in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Jaimez, Simon, and Evans for UCF, down 4 now in the 5th. 1-1.
Teams this weekend haven't been able to figure out how to get Coco Jaimez out up at the plate. Already with a base hit in today's ball game, pulling it to the right side. So far, trying to work those last 2 pitches on the outer half. Goes back outside again, just misses.
2-1 to the freshman. Jaimez 8 for 10 in the regional. Home run, 3 runs scored. At slap foul.
You'd imagine you might start to see a changeup here from Kavan with Jaimez moving through the box. Now the risk is because your outfield is shaded towards the left side, if she were to pull that changeup, get out in front, then there's a lot of room down that right field line for Jaimez to run.
2-2 to Jaimez. Up high for a ball. To the shortstop. Stewart shows off the arm, gets Jaimez in time, 1 away.
A couple of nice plays that we've seen today from Katie Stewart over at shortstop. That one, you don't have a ton of time to react to that ground ball. Ends up going for the backhand and fires it across, relying on that arm strength that she has. Doesn't have to take many steps to get her momentum moving back towards a first base. Just shifts her weight and fires it across.
Here's Madison Simon. Simon, Stewart can't get there, and it's a base hit for the number 9 hitter, Madison Simon, who's aboard for a 2nd time today.
Stewart showing off some good range on that one too. It looked like she was going to come up with it, but Simon just hits it pretty much perfectly right back up the middle, bounces over the head of Tegan Kavan. A smile from Simon over at first base as she reaches base safely with that base hit.
3rd hit of the regional for the senior. And back to the top of the order for Aubrey Evans. Ball 1. not a lot of home run hitters in this UCF lineup. They've got to go station to station. They need some base runners. They got to put some pressure on that way. Evans in the leadoff spot, the leading home run hitter with 10 on the season. Humphreys waits on deck. Out of play, and it's 1-1. Laying down the bunt, Kavan fielding it, little hesitation for good to cover the bag, and everybody safe. That hesitation led to Kavan hesitating. It's going to be a bunt single. Humphreys had a big hit yesterday against Michigan, a 3-run double with 2 outs in the 4th inning in that elimination game. She's up in a big spot here for the Knights again. Down on the count, 0-2. Simon at second, Evans at first, the 0-2 to Humphreys. Strikeout for Kavan, that is her 5th, 2 down.
We've talked about how that drop ball's been working for Kavan. Well, in this at bat to Humphreys, she goes 3 straight drop balls, all of them for strikes. Has that late sharp downwards movement, and again, it's the deception when she works it in there with that low rise ball, especially out of the hand. You think that pitch is going to end up a little bit higher in the zone than it actually does.
200th strikeout this season for Tegan Kavan, and she throws strike 1 again. This time to Stormy Kotzelnick. Kotzelnick's 0 for 2. Kotzelnick gets a piece, and it's 0-2. Kavan ready with the 0-2. Fouled out of play. Great efforts by the gentleman in the bleachers. I'm glad that fencing there is at least 4 or 5 feet tall.
He's talking about how close it was. We have seen some really nice catches from the fans in the stands this weekend.
Another 0-2 from Kavan. 1-2. Texas win, they move on to the Super Regionals. They'll host here in Austin. A UCF win will play a final game of this Austin Regional to determine the regional champion. 1-2. Good job by Kotzelnick to lay off. 2-2.
Kotzelnick going to the slap in this at bat too, trying to get a better read on these pitches. Seeing if she can get something just on the ground to continue this rally for the Knights.
Chopped, rolling, foul.
Smart play by Mia Scott. Looked like that one was going to hang out in fair territory for a second, the height that it got, but that last hop just goes into foul territory.
Kotzelnick struck out looking in the first, grounded out to first in the 4th. Entered to play today, 5 for 10 in the regional, just missed, and it's 3-2.
It's about as close as it gets on the outside part of the plate. Let's see where this pitch ends up. Looks like that low rise ball with the run to it. Not an easy pitch to take in a 2-strike count.
Back up the middle, glove by Good, steps on the bag for the out to retire the side. The defense, program history after earning that trip back in 2022. Leanne Good to get things going here for Texas. Good hit her second home run of the regional in the second to put the Longhorns on the board, a 2-run shot. Ground ball to Shorts. Evans stays down on it. Over to Griffin, one away.
See, with Caitlin Felton coming in the ball game here, if she's going to start throwing more and more of those changeups. That last pitch that she just threw to Leanne Good was a changeup. She got the ground ball out over to shortstop, but when she came into this ball game back in the 5th inning, seemed like Texas was on time for her high velocity stuff. So if she's able to mix in that off-speed pitch just a little bit more, she can get some more of those ground ball outs.
Ball 1 to Katie Bennett. 0 for 2 today, 2 for 7 in the regional. Slapped foul into the Texas bullpen where Mac Morgan is working.
We've seen Citlali Gutierrez getting loose out there in that bullpen. Now Mac Morgan getting loose. These types of games with your season on the line, all hands on deck.
1-1 to Bennett. 2-1. Issa Vega started for UCF, went 4 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 4 runs. They were earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 78 pitches. Bennett slicing foul.
I thought Issa Vega really threw a great game, too. Not a lot of hard contact. She did give up the home run to Reese Atwood and the home run to Leanne Good, but outside of that, a lot of fly ball outs, got out of some jams, too. Just when it felt like Texas was starting to get some momentum, she got some big fly ball outs to get her team out of the inning.
She's thrown 254 pitches in the regional after the 78 pitches today. She may not be done today because she pitched well. She'll be at the ready here if things change here for UCF and they can claw their way back into it. Things could change, and I'm sure she would be thrown back into the circle by Cindy Ball Malone, who has other things in her mind right now.
Vega had some tough luck, too, with that double off the bat of Mia Scott out in right field.
3-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Bennett started down to first base, but it's a called 3rd strike, 2 down. Yeah, Henry had lined out to left, and Scott on that fly ball to right that should have been caught was scored a double. That set the table for Atwood, who hit the home run. I may have shorted Reese a home run. They're happening so quickly. 53 career home runs.
53.
Yes.
Up to 53. 19 on the season now.
It's not like they're gaining interest, although it feels that way. 19 on the season. As a team in the regional, Texas with 2 today, giving them a total of 8. And the Longhorns have 38 hits in 3 regional games. Offered at by Ashton Maloney. 1-1. Maloney 1 for 3 today, giving her 6 of those hits in this tournament for Texas. One and 2. Winner of this regional will take on the winner of the Clemson regional. Kentucky has fought their way back into the regional final, but right now they're trailing the Tigers at McWhorter Stadium 4-0 in the 5th inning.
A couple of home runs in that game for Clemson. Maddie Moore, one of the seniors on that team, having a great season, had a double in that ball game.
The 1-2 to the shortstop, Evans. 3 up, 3 down for Felton in the 6th inning. UCF coming up to the plate in the bottom of the 6th next.
Ball game.
Ball one to Ashley Griffin, leading things off for UCF here in the sixth with the Knights down 4-0. We mentioned Clemson with the lead against Kentucky, moving to the sixth inning now. Kentucky won twice on Saturday, including defeating Northwestern 8-3. Clemson had defeated Northwestern in 9 innings on Saturday, 1-0. Abby Vieira had a triple. Marion Collins squeezed her home. So the ACC tournament champions playing very well. Clemson, they've won 9 in a row heading into the matchup with Kentucky today, trying to punch their ticket, by the looks of it right now, to Austin, although we still have time to go in this game.
Well, we were talking about coming into this regional too, that Michigan was one of the hottest teams in the country going through the Big Ten tournament, ended up being Big Ten tournament champions, but I think the same could be said for the Clemson Tigers. They're another young team, a lot of freshmen that have done some big things for them this season, and they've almost turned their season around too.
3-1 pitch. It's in there for a strike. 3-2 now to Griffin. Back up the middle, a base hit to lead things off the bag at second. So Griffin has her first hit today. She's on board for a second time and her third hit of the regional.
This UCF offense still just trying to chip away at what they've been seeing from Tegan Kavan throughout this game. Still going to a lot of those drop balls and even the rise balls in the low part of the zone. So you have to adjust, try to get a little bit more barrel underneath it, or pound it hard enough into the ground right back up the middle to where you can find yourself with a base hit over at first base.
Over at first base, we'll find Macy Miles, the pinch runner for Griffin. Well, we've seen Morgan and Gutierrez working in the pen for a while now for Texas, so they're at the ready, but Kavan pitching shutout ball so far, but giving up the leadoff hit to Griffin to start the sixth. Ball one to Mertez, 0 for 2 today, 3 for 13 in the regional. Homered yesterday against Michigan in that big fifth inning for the Knights. Two and 0. A consistent thing for Kavan in those first 4 innings especially was getting ahead of hitters. First pitch strikes. She's fallen behind here to Mertez. Griffin had a good at-bat to get a leadoff single against Kavan.
Fell behind to Griffin too, fell behind 2-0 before pumping in a strike.
Close, but a ball, 3-0. Beth Damon, who has made it a habit of putting the ball in play for this UCF team, on deck. There's a strike, it's 3-1. Mertez fouls it off, count goes full.
Worked her way back into this count too with that last strike. A rise ball in the inner half. Looked like Izzy Mertez was taken all the way in that 3-0 count. Works the rise ball on the other side of the plate for a foul ball to get back into this count, 3-2. The same count though that Ashley Griffin had that base hit up the middle on.
Third straight batter that Kavan has gone full on. To Stewart at short, looking for good for one on the first, not in time. One away.
Another high chopping ground ball over to Katie Stewart. As a shortstop in that moment, when you see the height on the ground ball, you have the decision, do you want to still try to go for the lead runner, or do you want to get the sure out over at first base? And with her momentum moving in towards the pitcher's circle, she has to throw back behind her and makes a really good throw over to Leanne Good to get the lead out. Looks like Katie Stewart and Leanne Good just joking with one another, standing back behind second base.
Well, they're trying to build rapport, that connection. As we said, 13th start for Stewart at shortstop. Good. Spent some time at shortstop. Well, I don't know if Mike White wants Leanne to say, let's just go right to behind the back flips. Yeah.
She's practicing it right now. If we get another one of those high choppers, maybe she goes for it.
Alexis Morgan running at first. Off speed, Damon swings through it for strike one. A little smile from the freshman at the plate for UCF.
Happens to everybody. Sometimes you just get fooled on a pitch and you just got to tip your cap and step back into the box to see another one.
Back-to-back change-ups, 0-2.
You know what I'm thinking right here, Eric. I'd be tempted 3 change-ups in a row. Does she go for it or does she go back with the heat?
Damon gets a piece. Damon 1 for 2 today. 3 hits in the regional, a couple of runs batted in. Change up, bobbled by Stewart. Tried the glove flip over, too late to get it to good. We'll see if Texas wants to challenge it. It looked like Morgan was safe at second. And Leanne Good looks to the dugout, indicating to Mike White and the Texas coaching staff, let's challenge it.
The rule of safe at second base is under review.
Jim Bertuzzi with a little feedback to go.
Thing that they were focusing on this week.
Deanna Cunningham running at first now for UCF, and here's Samantha Ray. Yeah, that was the word when we talked to the team leading up to the regional communication. They were really a team that needed a reset after that run rule loss to their rivals, Texas A&M, out of the SEC tournament in the semifinal round. We talked about it yesterday about there were questions about Texas, certainly when it came to pitching and the pitching depth and their ace of the staff, Kavan. There were no questions about what they could do at the plate. If you had any questions, just look at the highlights from these 3 games. Bunted foul by Ray. But they just had that feeling that all those aspects, the pitching, the defense, the plate, the communication, all needed to come together for Texas heading into the tournament.
And what I took from it too, it was the little things, not just communicating in between at-bats about what you're seeing, but even just letting your teammate know out there defensively that you've got them the coverage, what the situation is, even if you think it's information that everybody on the field knows, still taking the time to communicate that with your pitchers, with your infielders, even the outfielders out there in the grass. Just that constant chatter that you're seeing from this defense.
They were number 1 in the ESPN.com poll 5 times this year. And sometimes you take it for granted. Well, we're really good. Things just happen. Just roll it out there. But you still have to stick to some of those fundamentals. And communications, one of the basic ones. Kavan fielding her position over to Mitchell, and that will retire the side. She continues to spin a gem here. Regional champion. That's the case in Tallahassee, Florida State and Auburn. Auburn winning earlier by a final score of 8-3 to force a Game 7. We will take everyone to Tallahassee at the conclusion of this game in Austin for that showdown between the Tigers and the Noles. Caden Henry to lead things off for Texas here in the top half of the 7th inning. 0 for 3 today, 4 for 10 in the regional. Caitlin Felton has done well coming on in relief of Isa Vega. Felton came on after the Atwood 2-run home run. It's going to be a bunt single for Caden Henry. Ball got away, but it was backed up nicely by Taylor Kittleman, who is now the right fielder for UCF. Henry's aboard to lead things off in the 7th.
Caden Henry just puts defenses in such a tough spot because they don't know if she's going to go up there and swing away or is she going to drop a bunt, and she puts that one in a perfect position where nobody even has a chance to make a play on her.
Mia Scott steps in to face Felton. And takes strike one. Scott 3 for 3 today, came into the game with 297 career hits, so didn't waste any time joining the 300 hit club here at Texas. Ground ball too short, could be two to second for one. On the first, Scott hustling down the line. One away.
Aubrey Evans, the shortstop for UCF, had to shade up towards second base just a little bit because of the speed of Caden Henry over at first base. But what does that do? It puts her in the perfect position to field this ground ball off of the bat of Mia Scott. The quick flip over to second base, just not able to turn the double play, but they're still able to get that lead runner out for out number one.
Here's Atwood, 1 for 3 today. Fouls it off for strike one. 2-run home run her last time up in the 5th. Her 19th of the season, giving her 82 runs batted in this year. Seven for 10 in the regional with 11 RBI. Oh, and 2. The horns silent for now.
The quad horn is back. Still full battery, too. I'm seeing a green light on the battery.
They must have brought a dozen batteries. There's no way. That thing's been going nonstop. And Reese Atwood's been going non-stop for Texas. Another 2-run home run for Atwood. 6-0 Longhorns. Blow those horns.
Even when Reese Atwood finds herself down in the count 0-2, she's still able to get good barrel on this pitch. It's a rise ball up and inside. They tried to work her away the pitch before, and she is ready for the high velocity in on the hands, and she turns on it for a one-hopper again off of the building out there beyond the left field wall.
Jim Bertuzzi to make an announcement.
Central Florida is checking that ruling.
UCF, Cindy Ball Malone, the head coach, during the celebration came out and wanted to check if one of the runners for Texas, either Scott or Atwood, missed third base. Our third base umpire, Michael Hurst, said no, there was contact, but they still want to challenge it, so they are going to go to replay to see if somebody missed the base here for Texas. Here comes the announcement, hopefully without the reverb and feedback.
The ruling on the field is the batter runner did touch third base. The call is upheld. That's Central Florida's second challenge.
Second and final challenge for Central Florida. You can't have an umpire-initiated challenge.
That's Central Florida's first challenge.
The correction from the dugout, they just wanted to say we've only used one. So they've got one in their pocket. The umpires can go at this point of the game to the monitors as well. Here's Katie Stewart, 1 for 3 today. She lifts a fly ball to deep left. It is carrying, it's at the track, and it's off the wall. Stewart heading into second with a stand-up double.
Katie Stewart again wasting no time. Not easy to do.
But in the end, 2 home runs against Vega costly. The 2-run shot by Good, 2-run shot by Atwood. Felton had settled into a good rhythm, but Henry with the bunt single, Atwood with the 2-run homer, Stewart follows with a double, and Texas trying to get some insurance here in the 7th. Jolie Mitchell heading the count 2-0. Mitchell 0 for 3 today. Mitchell with a hot shot to third. They've got Stewart in a rundown. Stewart midway through. Mitchell's going to take second base. Stewart slides into third. But I believe they're going to call obstruction here on UCF and award the bag to Stewart.
That's the call there. The left arm went out. Obstruction was called. Looked like obstruction called on Caitlin Felton, who ended up being in that rundown to cover third base. Right in the middle of the rundown here. Let's see where she's set up. Yeah, she's set up in front of that leading edge of the base before Felton has possession of the ball. Looking at the timing here, I think that Katie Stewart, if her hand was able to reach, I think she was going to be safe anyway, but that's where that obstruction call comes into play, because before Felton had possession of that softball, she was right in front of the leading edge of third base.
So Stewart safe at third, Mitchell at second. And here's Vic Hunter. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it off. So it's a fielder's choice for Mitchell and an error on the pitcher to allow Stewart to reach third safely.
And with that rundown too, it just felt like a lot of throws when Katie Stewart was pretty much hung up right in the middle of the base path.
Stewart check swing, liner to center. Simon comes on to make the play. Stewart tags up and scores. 7-0 Longhorns. RBI number 15 this season for sophomore Vic Hunter.
Going back to that play with the rundown in between first and third, you've got Caitlin Felton, and just it's where she's set up. Had she been set up to where her front foot was just a little bit more on the inside part of the plate to create that lane, then you're not going to get called for obstruction. But because she's right there in front of that leading edge, and it's hard to do too when you're in the middle of a rundown trying to worry about where your feet are in relation to the base.
Mike White and Mike Hers both with the obstruction call. It was only the call from Hers, Michael that counted, the third base umpire.
And I think, too, had the defense close the gap a little bit on some of those throws. So you're taking a step in as you get another throw in the rundown to give Katie Stewart less space to run in between the bases. They probably would have had her out even before that throw had to be made. But Texas, again, just capitalizing on those little things. And a sac fly by Vic Hunter brings across the 7th run of the game.
1-1 the count to Leanne Good. Hit a 2-run homer in the second. Is 1 for 3 today. 4 for 9 with a couple of home runs in the regional. And she needs one sock. I'm going to say Leanne did not change that ripped sock after the hard slide when she was covering second base. Yes, you can see it from on that left ankle there. Yeah. Got a little raspberry there, too, from the cleat. 1-1. Popped up, foul ground, and just out of play.
Well, you know me, I was a bit superstitious when I played, so if I had hit a home run with that sock was going to be staying on the rest of the ball game.
Well,
that's
I don't know.
Sure.
That doesn't look like that could be repaired. I don't care how good the tailor is here at the University of Texas. Would you try to save that sock if that was your lucky home run sock?
No, I wouldn't wear the sock again after this game, but it would definitely be staying on for the rest of this game.
That's out of play. Leanne's had on her resume multiple positions doing whatever it takes for Texas. Mike White says her best position second base. That's why she's there right now. She's done it at the plate and in the field today for the Longhorns. 2-2. Just got a piece. That's inside, and it's 3-2 to good.
Pretty good pitch there, too, especially after working up and outside. Tries to come back low and in. Leanne Good maybe a bit surprised by that location, but gets called for a ball and another 3-2 count.
That's how to play. We'll do it again. Texas scored 2 in the second, 2 in the fifth. They've added 3 insurance runs here in the top half of the 7th inning. UCF will have 8, 9, and 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Jaimez, Simon, Evans due up. Good, chops it to third. Humphreys throws it wide. Texas can add an insurance run. Mitchell scores. 8-0 Longhorns in the top of the 7th.
This looks like it's going to be being out all the way off of the bat. Sierra Humphreys has plenty of time to set her feet and make a throw over to first base, but it just sails wide all the way towards our camera past that first base dugout. And this inning continues on.
Vanessa Quiroga will hit for Katie Bennett. One of the seniors for this Texas team, getting her first at-bat of this Austin Regional. First 2 games of the Regional worked pretty quickly for Texas. A couple of run rule games, 5 innings, so there wasn't a chance to get players like Quiroga any swings. Here she is with 2 down here in the 7th. Strike 1. Now, UCF knew they didn't have much of a margin for error in this game, but they have committed 3 errors in this game after committing just 1 in the first 3 games of this Austin Regional, which helped get them here to this regional final.
And you need your defense, too, especially once Caitlin Felton enters the game, where she's going to work her pitches a lot more in the low part of the zone than what Isa Vega, who started the game, likes to do. You're going to get a lot of those ground ball outs, and you have to be able to make those plays behind your pitcher, because a team like Texas is going to take advantage of any opportunity that you give them to advance an additional 60 feet.
One and 2. 3 more home runs in this game for the Longhorns, giving them 9 in the regional over just the last 2 games. One, 2. Through the left side, everybody hits for the Longhorns. That's 13 in this game. 42 hits in the regional for Texas.
Not easy to come in a pinch hit role either, but Vanessa Quiroga is ready for what she's going to see from Caitlin Felton, and she drives this one hard right through the 5-6 hole. Got the start in their last regular season game against Kentucky, ended up getting a hit in that game against the Wildcats, comes in here in the pinch hitting role, comes through with 2 away to extend this top of the 7th.
Good down to second with 2 down. Everybody has come to the plate now in the 7th inning as Maloney steps in. Bennett re-enters to run for Quiroga. Ready for these numbers, Madison? Texas, 34 runs on 42 hits in 3 games.
42 hits in 3 games. It's video game numbers. It's pretty unbelievable what this offense has been able to do this weekend.
Maloney checked her swing. It's 1-1.
And I feel like throughout the regular season, you talk about trying to lengthen out this Texas lineup. Getting that production from the bottom half of the lineup has been huge for them, but because there's so many different threats in the lineup, it's hard to pitch around just one batter because the way that everybody has been swinging offensively.
Maloney with the chopper. This is trouble. Good does not stop rounding third. Sliding back safely into second is Bennett. It's an RBI single for Ashton Maloney. Run production at the top of the lineup, too, for Texas. 9-0 Longhorns.
Because when you're looking at these games, too, you're thinking home runs by Reese Atwood, home runs by Katie Stewart. Maybe do you pitch around them in certain situations, but it's because of the production top to bottom. You just don't have a choice but to throw to them.
You can pitch around if you want. Who are you going to pitch to?
Exactly.
Because the ones that you have to then pitch to should be considered for pitching around as well.
But that's all part of the game plan
Yes.
for Texas. They want to force pitchers to have to throw to their top hitters, and that's what we've seen this weekend.
10th Longhorn to hit this inning is Caden Henry, who started the inning with a bunt single. It's 0-2. So we're updating the tote board, Maddie. 35 runs on 43 hits now for Texas, and 17 innings. The first two games were not full games.
Yeah, still 29 hits in just those 10 innings and those 2 run rule wins. Today, 14 hits, 3 home runs today, 9 total in the weekend. It just has felt like the ball has been coming off of the bat for Texas extremely hard all weekend, even when it's not leaving the yard. We've seen some singles being hit 74 miles per hour off of the bat that have hit off of the wall.
2-2 now to Henry. Well, the Longhorns have hit all year, among the tops in the country. Second entering the tournament, 361 the average entering play today. That's up and in. Dan Ferrand's done a great job, as always, crunching the numbers. I'm going to put him on the spot. Texas was hitting .537 entering play today. What are they hitting overall for the regional? I don't expect the number right now. He's looking at me. Crunch him. That's to the shortstop, looking for the force. It's just in time. I don't know. Mike White is thinking about challenging this. And Tegan Kavan, she's loved celebrating all these runs crossing the plate. Just let her go out and throw strikes, which she's done all game long. Ready to bring pitch number 100. Jaimez with the slow roller. Stewart throws on the run. Mitchell kept her foot on the bag. One away. Before we go any further, kudos to Dan for helping us up here. Scott Epstein, Mike Roy, producer director, Mariah and Corey keeping them straight in the control room. Our entire production crew here, especially those who have been out in the heat here. 2 games, high 90s without the sun on Friday. 3 games yesterday in the heat. And in the 90s again here in Austin. It's been a very hot week, but they've done a fantastic job. So we thank everyone for all the work they've done here. Bringing you the pictures, sights and sounds from Austin.
Yeah, we can't say thank you enough to our incredible crew for the hard work that they've put in all weekend long. We've had some phenomenal games and just really lucky to be a part of this wonderful crew here in Austin for this great regional.
So that left field camera down by the foul pole, that's gotten a workout as it's panned over to see how far a lot of these Texas home runs have traveled. They've been whip pans a couple of times because of the exit velocity. Left field coming on and making the catch, Katie Bennett. How about a little defense to go with the hit parade? 2 down.
Really a couple of nice plays to start off this bottom of the 7th inning, and it's Katie Bennett having to run a long way, laying all the way out to rob Madison Simon of this base hit out to left. Gets both hands on it, securing the ball, and a big smile on her face. She knows her pitcher, Tegan Kavan, loves it.
Strike 1 to Aubrey Evans as those in burnt orange start to come to their feet here at McCombs Field. And Sydney Ball Malone wants to bring down the temperature just a little bit here for Evans. Clemson has defeated Kentucky, so Tigers, I hope you're ready for the air horns here. Bring your earplugs and your Tylenol.
Oh, they're going to be out in full force.
Clemson will punch their ticket here to Austin after one more out. Scott, backhander, throws off balance across the diamond, and Evans keeps things going for UCF here in the 7th.
Looks like that one was called a foul ball.
Okay, foul ball.
Yep. Pretty close. Yeah, pretty close down that third baseline. Even Coach Sydney Ball Malone wanting to double check to see what our third base umpire saw from that one, but it's called a foul ball, so Aubrey Evans returns back to that batter's box.
Where the count now is 0-2. This is for a ball 1-2 now to Evans. 1 for 3 today, 4 for 12 in the regional. On base in all 4 games for this UCF team, which dropped its opener to Michigan, then won back-to-back elimination games to set up this game with Texas. 2-2. Grounded to Kavan, over to first. Texas Super again. Their 6th straight trip to the Super Regionals.